feature is a child.
A child?
Yes, Captain, a child.
This child is about to wipe out every living thing on Earth.
December 1979. After 10 years in television limbo, the USS Enterprise returned to the big screen in Star Trek, the motion picture, reuniting the iconic crew for an adventure that would save the franchise and launch a film legacy. This is their story. If you enjoy this journey, please subscribe to Let's Rewind. William Shatner as Admiral James T. Kirk. At 48, William Shatner stepped back into the captain's chair as Admiral James T. Kirk, the role that had defined his career a decade earlier. Born March 22, 1931 in Montreal, Quebec, Shatner had trained at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival, working as an understudy to legends like Alec Guinness and James Mason. That classical foundation would serve him well when Gene Roddenberry cast him as the decisive, passionate captain of the starship Enterprise in 1966. When Star Trek ended in 1969, Shatner found himself typecast and struggling. He's spoken candidly about living in a truck camper after his first wife left, taking any work he could find. But the motion picture changed everything. The film grossed over $139 million worldwide, proving the crew still had fans eager to see them explore strange new worlds. Shatner would reprise Kirk in 6 more films through 1994, but he also built a remarkable post-Trek career. He starred as T.J. Hooker from 1982 to 1986, then won 2 Emmy Awards playing the delightfully eccentric attorney Denny Crane on Boston Legal from 2004 to 2008. His dramatic spoken-word albums, including 1968's The Transformed Man, with its infamous covers of Beatles and Bob Dylan songs, became cult classics. In October 2021, at age 90, Shatner became the oldest person to reach space aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. The flight visibly moved him, and his tearful reaction upon landing reminded the world why Kirk's wonder at the cosmos resonated so deeply. Shatner married 4 times, most recently to Elizabeth Martin, from 2001 to 2020. He has 3 daughters. Now 95 and still active, he continues appearing at conventions and in film projects. His estimated net worth stands at $100 million, a far cry from that truck camper. Leonard Nimoy as Commander Spock. Leonard Nimoy returned to the motion picture fresh from completing Invasion of the Body Snatchers, ready to explore Spock's internal conflict between logic and emotion. Born March 26, 1931 in Boston to Ukrainian Jewish immigrants from Izyaslav, Nimoy grew up speaking Yiddish in a tight-knit community. That heritage would inspire one of his greatest contributions to Star Trek, the Vulcan Salute, based on the Jewish priestly blessing he'd seen as a child in synagogue. Nimoy played Spock in 79 original series episodes, 22 animated episodes, and 8 films spanning nearly 50 years, including J.J. Abrams' reboots, where he appeared as Spock Prime. But he resisted being defined solely by those pointed ears. Between Trek films, he starred in Mission Impossible from 1969 to 1971 as Persis, the master of disguise who replaced Martin Landau. He directed Star Trek 3 and 4, then helmed 1987's 3 Men and a Baby, which became the highest-grossing American film of that year. Nimoy was also a published poet, photographer, and singer. His photography books explored the human form and Jewish spirituality, while his spoken-word albums became beloved camp classics. He voiced Sentinel Prime in Transformers: Dark of the Moon and the villain Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts video games, that distinctive baritone instantly recognizable. He married Sandra Zober in 1954. They had 2 children before divorcing in 1987. His 1989 marriage to actress Susan Bay lasted until his death. A longtime smoker, Nimoy developed chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and became an advocate for quitting tobacco. His final tweet on February 22, 2015 read, "A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved, except in memory." LLAP. He died 5 days later, at 83. His estimated net worth at death was $45 million. His legacy as Spock remains immeasurable. DeForest Kelley as Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy. DeForest Kelley almost wasn't Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy. Gene Roddenberry first offered him the role of Spock, but Kelley declined, saying he'd prefer what he called the High Noon character, the compassionate frontier doctor. Born January 20th, 1920 in Georgia, the son of a Baptist minister, Kelley spent his early career playing cold-blooded villains in westerns. McCoy let him reveal the warmth that had been there all along. Kelley appeared in 79 original series episodes, voiced McCoy and numerous other characters in the animated series, and starred in 6 films. His final Trek appearance came in 1987 when he made a touching cameo in Star Trek: The Next Generation's premiere as a 137-year-old Admiral McCoy, still irascible and brilliant, inspecting the new Enterprise. It was a perfect curtain call. After Star Trek's cancellation, Kelley struggled with typecasting. By his own account, he was earning around $50,000 annually from convention appearances by 1978, having found few other acting opportunities. The film series changed that, and when Star Trek VI arrived in 1991, Leonard Nimoy, serving as producer, reportedly helped arrange for Kelley to receive $1 million for his performance. Kelley married Carolyn Dowling in 1945 after they met in a local theater production. Their nearly 55-year marriage, childless but devoted, became legendary among the cast. Majel Barrett later said they were the most loving couple you've ever seen in your life. Kelley received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on December 18, 1991. He died of stomach cancer on June 11, 1999, at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, California. He was 79. Before his death, he reflected on his legacy. These people are doctors now. All kinds of doctors who save lives. That's something very few people can say they've done. I'm proud to say that I have. His estimated net worth at death was $5 million. James Doohan, as Commander Montgomery Scotty Scott. James Doohan brought warmth and wit to Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott, but his real-life heroism far exceeded anything Scotty accomplished on screen. Born March 3, 1920, in Vancouver, British Columbia, Doohan joined the Royal Canadian Artillery during World War II. On D-Day, June 6, 1944, he led his men onto Juno Beach in Normandy. During the assault, German machine gun fire struck him 6 times. 4 bullets hit his leg, 1 severed his right middle finger, and a 6th would have pierced his heart if not for the silver cigarette case in his chest pocket. He survived, became a flying observer for the Royal Canadian Air Force, and earned the dubious nickname "Craziest Pilot in the Canadian Air Force" for his daring aerial maneuvers. That courage would serve him well in Hollywood. When auditioning for Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry asked Doohan to try different accents. After demonstrating several, Doohan said, "If you want an engineer, in my experience the best engineers are Scotsmen." The Aberdeen Scottish accent he chose became inseparable from the character. Doohan also helped develop the early Klingon and Vulcan sounds that later linguists would expand into full languages. He worked prolifically in Canadian radio and television before Trek, appearing in over 4,000 radio programs and 400 television shows. For Star Trek: The Animated Series, he voiced more than 50 characters, including alien navigator Arex. Doohan married 3 times and fathered 7 children. The youngest, daughter Sarah, born in 2000 when he was 80. He often told the story of a suicidal fan he'd invited to conventions. 8 years later, she wrote to thank him. She'd become an engineer. Diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's in his final years, Doohan died of pneumonia on July 20, 2005, at 85 in Redmond, Washington. A portion of his ashes was later launched into space. His estimated net worth at death was $7 million. We're halfway through our journey with the Enterprise crew. If you're enjoying these stories, hit that subscribe button and join us for more classic Hollywood retrospectives. Nichelle Nichols, as Lieutenant Commander Uhura. Nichelle Nichols almost walked away from Lieutenant Uhura after Star Trek's first season. Born Grace Dell Nichols on December 28, 1932, in Robbins, Illinois, where her father served as mayor, she hated being called Gracie. As a teenager, she learned her mother had wanted to name her Michelle, with alliterative initials like Marilyn Monroe, so she became Nichelle. She'd trained as a singer and dancer, blessed with a 4-octave vocal range, and had performed with Duke Ellington and Lionel Hampton. When Star Trek began in 1966, she was one of the first black women to play a non-menial role on American television, serving as the Enterprise's communications officer. But racist harassment and the studio withholding her fan mail led her to submit her resignation to Gene Roddenberry. Then she attended an NAACP fundraiser. A fan approached, asking to meet her. That fan was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He told her that Star Trek was the only show he allowed his children to watch, that her role as fourth in command represented a vital breakthrough for African Americans on television. She withdrew her resignation the next day. On November 22, 1968, Uhura shared one of television's first interracial kisses with Captain Kirk in Plato's Stepchildren. Though the script had the characters controlled by aliens, giving the network plausible deniability, Nichols and William Shatner deliberately flubbed takes without the kiss. forcing the studio to air it. The fan mail was overwhelmingly positive. After Star Trek, NASA contracted Nichols in the late 1970s and 1980s to help recruit women and minority astronauts. Her efforts helped bring in Sally Ride, Guion Bluford, Judith Resnick, and Ronald McNair. She received NASA's Public Service Award in 1984. Nichols married and divorced twice and had one son, actor Kyle Johnson. She received a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 1992. Diagnosed with dementia in 2018, she died of natural causes on July 30, 2022, in Silver City, New Mexico, at 89. Her estimated net worth was $8 million. George Takei as Lieutenant Commander Hikaru Sulu. George Takei brought quiet dignity to helmsman Hikaru Sulu, but his early life was defined by injustice. Born April 20, 1937 in Los Angeles, 5-year-old George and his family were forcibly removed from their home in 1942 under Executive Order 9066. They spent the next 3 years imprisoned at Camp Rower in Arkansas and Camp Tule Lake in California, part of the shameful internment of 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. After the war, Takei studied architecture at UC Berkeley before pursuing theater at UCLA, earning bachelor's and master's degrees. Gene Roddenberry cast him as Sulu in 1965, and he appeared in 51 of the original series' 79 episodes. He missed much of Season 2 while filming The Green Berets with John Wayne. Walter Koenig's Chekov filled in during his absence. Takei campaigned for years to see Sulu promoted, finally achieving that goal in Star Trek VI when Sulu became captain of his own ship, the Excelsior. He returned to the role one final time in Star Trek Voyager's 1996 episode, Flashback. In 2005, Takei publicly came out as gay, revealing his relationship with Brad Altman, which had begun around 1985. They married on September 14, 2008. His 2012 Broadway musical Allegiance drew from his family's internment experience. His 2019 graphic novel They Called Us Enemy became a New York Times bestseller, winning the 2020 Asian Pacific American Award and American Book Award. Takei became a social media phenomenon, amassing around 20 million Facebook followers at his peak and winning the 2013 Shorty Award for Distinguished Achievement in Internet Culture. The Emperor of Japan awarded him the Order of the Rising Sun in 2004 for fostering U.S.-Japan relations. He received a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 1986. Now 88 and still active, Takei continues his activism and entertainment career. His estimated net worth is $14 million. Walter Koenig as Lieutenant Pavel Chekov. Walter Koenig joined Star Trek's second season as Ensign Pavel Chekov, the eager young Russian navigator with the mopping Beatles haircut designed to attract younger viewers. Born September 14, 1936 in Chicago to Russian Jewish immigrants, Koenig's father had changed the family surname from Königsberg. Gene Roddenberry added the character after reading an article claiming Star Trek lacked young characters for teenagers to identify with, and the Russian accent appealed to Soviet viewers during the Cold War. When George Takei left to film The Green Berets, Chekov filled in at the helm. Upon Takei's return, the two actors had to share a dressing room and split script pages. Koenig later admitted he initially felt threatened by Takei's return, but grew to cherish their friendship. The image of them side by side at the helm became iconic. Koenig appeared in 36 original series episodes and returned for all 7 films featuring the original cast, including 1994's Generations. He also wrote the animated series episode The Infinite Vulcan and penned several science fiction novels, including Buck Alice and the Actor Robot. From 1994 to 1998, Koenig played telepathic psi-cop Alfred Bester in 11 episodes of Babylon 5, reuniting with George Takei. The role showcased his dramatic range, playing a morally complex antagonist far removed from the idealistic Chekov. Koenig married Judy Leavitt in 1965. They remained together. Their son Andrew struggled with depression and died by suicide in 2010 at 41. Koenig has since spoken openly about mental health awareness, using his platform to help others facing similar struggles. A regular on the convention circuit, Koenig maintains close friendships with his surviving castmates. The camaraderie that once filled the Enterprise bridge endures. Now 89, Koenig continues acting and writing. His estimated net worth is $8 million. Persis Khambatta as Lieutenant Ilia. Persis Khambatta made Star Trek history by shaving her head for the role of Lieutenant Ilia, the exotic Deltan navigator whose telepathic empathy and tragic transformation into V'ger's probe became central to the motion picture's emotional core. Born October 2, 1948 in Bombay, India, to a middle-class Parsi family, Khambatta faced hardship early when her father left when she was 2. Discovered at 13 by a photographer shooting Rexona soap advertisements, she became a successful model and won Miss India in 1965 at 17, becoming the third Indian woman to compete in Miss Universe. She later modeled for Revlon and appeared in Bollywood films before landing small roles in British productions opposite Michael Caine and Sidney Poitier. Originally signed for Star Trek, Phase 2, the planned television series, Khambatta was thrilled when it became a major motion picture instead, despite losing a guaranteed 5-year contract. She cried when first shaving her head, drawing inspiration from a statue of Queen Nefertiti, but the striking look made her unforgettable. She earned a Saturn Award nomination for Best Actress, and in 1980 became the first Indian citizen to present an Academy Award. Her post-Trek career included Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone in 1981 and Megaforce in 1982. A severe car crash in Germany in 1980 left a large scar on her head, preventing her from reprising Ilia. She had undergone major heart surgery in her mid-30s and was a lifelong chain smoker. Khambatta briefly married stuntman Cliff Taylor in 1980, divorcing after 2 months. In 1997, she published Pride of India, a coffee table book about Miss India pageant winners, dedicating it to Mother Teresa, with proceeds going to missionaries of charity. She was reportedly called the Pride of India by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. On August 18, 1998, Khambatta died of a massive heart attack in Mumbai at 49. Her estimated net worth at death was $2 million. The motion picture saved Star Trek and launched 5 more films with this remarkable crew. Their journeys from television pioneers to cinema legends remind us that the greatest adventures often come when we dare to return home. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves.